1 in every 200 men alive today carries the Y chromosome of a single man. That man was born on the harsh grasslands of Central Asia nearly 9 centuries ago. He began life with nothing: outcast, refugee, slave. He ended his life as the ruler of the largest contiguous land empire the world has ever known. They came from the endless grass, a sea of green in summer, a frozen hell in winter. They rode like the wind itself, a force of nature that could not be contained by walls or stopped by armies. The world called them devils, the scourge of God, the Tartars from hell. Their leader rose from the bitter dust of obscurity. His name was Temujin. Born in 1162. This is where it begins. Temujin's childhood was a brutal education in the realities of power. It was full of cold hunger and the bitter taste of betrayal. His father, Yesugei, was a minor chieftain of the Borjigin clan, a respected but not dominant figure among the Mongol tribes. When Temujin was just 9 years old, his father was poisoned by a rival Tatar clan while escorting his son to find a future bride. This single act of treachery plunged Temujin's family into a desperate struggle for survival. The clan that Yesugei had led abandoned his family, seizing their herds, leaving a widow with her young children to fend for themselves on the unforgiving steppe. This was the first and most painful lesson. Power was everything, and without it, you were nothing. The ultimate humiliation came when a rival clan, the Taichud, hunted him down. They captured the young Temujin, forced him into a kangwei, a heavy wooden collar that locked his head in his hands, marking him as a slave. He was paraded in shame, a trophy for his enemies. But even in this state of total helplessness, his spirit did not break. He watched, he waited, he learned. One night during a feast, he saw his chance. He knocked out his young guard with the wooden collar, escaped into the night, hiding in the river reeds until his pursuers gave up. This escape was a defining moment. To understand the Mongols, one must first understand their world. The Mongol steppe is a land of brutal extremes, a vast rolling ocean of grass that stretches to the horizon in every direction, dwarfing any human presence. In the brief summer, it is a sea of green, teeming with life under a brilliant blue sky. But winter comes quickly and without mercy: ice, lethal cold, and a howling wind. There is nowhere to hide. Survival on the steppe is earned every single day. They were nomads, their homes portable jurs, wealth measured in herds, sheep, goats, and most of all, horses. They moved with the seasons, following the grass, a life of motion, the opposite of sedentary, walled-in civilizations. A Mongol boy learned to ride as soon as he could walk, and to hunt from horseback soon after. They were the finest horsemen the world had ever seen. They could ride for days, sleep in the saddle, sustain themselves on mare's milk, even blood from a vein in a horse's neck. Each warrior traveled with several horses, switching mounts to cover incredible distances. The horse was partner, transport, food, and the ultimate weapon of war. Pragmatic, adaptable, resilient, status earned by ability, courage, and loyalty. Life was constant, low-level conflict, raiding for horses, women, and pasture. Scattered feuding clans, a violent world waiting for a single unifying force to give it direction. That's the world that made them. Temujin did not rise to power overnight. His ascent was a long, bloody, calculated climb up the treacherous ladder of tribal politics. After his escape from slavery, he rebuilt his life and his honor. His first crucial alliance was with Togrul, a friend of his father. Pledging loyalty won him a powerful protector. He forged a blood oath with Jamuka, sworn brothers. Together they gathered followers. Each raid and battle swelled their reputations. Temujin stood out for courage, generosity, and an eye for talent, sharing spoils, rewarding bravery and skill. He promoted on merit, not lineage or clan, a revolutionary model that drew ambitious men from every tribe. But his alliance with Jamuka soured. Jamuka for the old aristocracy, Temujin for a new meritocracy. In decisive battles, Temujin defeated Jamuka and the coalition behind him. He destroyed the Tatars, the clan that poisoned his father, avenging the wound that defined his youth. Methodical, ruthless, brilliant, he absorbed foes, broke clan structures, forged units loyal only to him. By 1206, Temujin had accomplished the impossible. A Kurultai of chieftains proclaimed him supreme ruler of the steppe. They bestowed a new title upon him, one that would echo through history. He was Genghis Khan, the oceanic ruler, the universal ruler. That day, a scattered people became a nation, a disciplined army, and an emperor with a vision of world conquest. Well, that is when everything changed. Genghis Khan did not simply unite the Mongols. He reforged them into the most effective military machine the world had ever seen. He turned his nation outward and changed war itself. Strategy, speed, psychological terror. Not heavy knights, but agile horse archers with composite bows that could pierce armor from afar. His army ran on decimal precision. Arban, Zun, Mingan, Tumen, men mixed across tribes, loyalty to commander and Khan alone. Discipline was absolute and brutally enforced, binding men in unbreakable solidarity. Speed was his greatest weapon. Strings of mounts let armies cover up to 100 miles a day. They perfected the feigned retreat, luring foes into ambush and annihilation. Masters of deception, they used intelligence, disinformation, and diversions to unbalance enemies. Surrender and be spared, or resist and be destroyed. Terror as strategy. First, the Jin of northern China. Huge cities, strong armies, the Great Wall itself. In 1211, they poured around the walls like a flood. They learned siege, captured engineers, built engines, even diverted rivers to drown cities. Zhongdu fell after a desperate defense. The sack burned for a month, streets greasy with human fat, bones like white mountains. To the west, a murderous insult in Khwarezm, caravans slain, envoys killed and humiliated. In 1219, the Khan struck with a brilliant envelopment, columns crossing the Kizil-Kum to appear where least expected. Bukhara burned, Samarkand surrendered and suffered, Urgench resisted, then a river was diverted to wipe it from the earth. The Shah fled, hunted by Jabi and Subutai, to a lonely death by the Caspian Sea. The wave did not stop with Genghis's death. Sons and grandsons drove into Russia, Poland, Hungary, to the very edge of Europe. Perhaps the most symbolic and tragic event. Baghdad, 1258. Hulagu Khan laid siege to the Abbasid capital. For 5 centuries, the heart of Islamic learning, poets, scientists, philosophers, a library envied by the world. After a short siege, the city fell. The sack was a cultural cataclysm, pillaged, burned, and killed. The caliph was rolled in a carpet and trampled by horses. Legend says the Tigris ran black with ink. The fall marked the end of the Islamic Golden Age, a shockwave of grief and terror. Out of unparalleled destruction, an era of connection emerged. The Pax Mongolica. The same armies now policed vast routes. Harsh but predictable law ended chronic local warfare. Relay stations, the Yam, with fresh mounts, food, and protection. A Paisa passport guaranteed safe passage. Trade surged. Silk, spices, porcelain flowed east to west. Glass, textiles, precious metals returned. Printing, gunpowder, the magnetic compass crossed into Europe, transformations in waiting. Marco Polo rode these roads. Missionaries, diplomats, and scholars expanded the world's horizons. But the same roads carried disease. In the 1330s, a virulent plague, likely from marmots, sped along protected routes. From the Black Sea to Italy, it exploded across Europe. The Black Death killed a third to a half of Europe, reshaping society, economy, and culture. The Mongol peace had connected the world and made it vulnerable to a shared biological disaster. Forged in a single generation by the will of one man, the Mongol Empire was the largest contiguous land empire in history. Its size, strength, and ultimate weakness. After Genghis and his immediate heirs, fault lines appeared. Ambition without genius bred quarrels over spoils. 4 great domains among his sons held while a strong great Khan reigned at Karakoram. But succession turned violent, draining strength and fracturing authority. By mid-13th century, 4 successor states, Yuan in China, Ilkhanate in Persia, Chagatai in Central Asia, Golden Horde in the West. They often acted independently, even warring with each other. Settled elites adopted local cultures, religions, and languages. Over generations, the conquerors were absorbed. By the late 14th century, Yuan expelled from China. Ilkhanate fractured into warring shards. The great unified empire of Genghis Khan was no more, broken back into the regional pieces it had so violently stitched together. The story of the Mongols is a brutal epic, deeply instructive. Genghis Khan and his descendants redrew the map of the world in a flash of terrifying violence. They left a dual legacy of creation-destruction connection catastrophe. Their rise teaches a chilling lesson about power. Speed can beat strength. A smaller, faster, adaptable force, brilliantly led and ruthlessly motivated, can overcome larger, richer, slower foes. Mobility and discipline outmaneuvered walls, armies, civilizations. They mastered fear as a weapon, breaking wills, winning swift victories, saving time and men. But terror breeds hatred. It cannot build a lasting peace. The memory of massacres fuels revolt. Enduring power rests on trust, legitimacy, consent, foundations the Mongols rarely cultivated. The steppe made them fast and resilient. The horse and bow made them deadly. Leaders forged by betrayal turned motion into empire. A historical singularity, a people from the margins seized the world's center. Temujin, the outcast boy, rose to rule millions and alter nearly every civilization of his time. They left roads in ruins, accelerated goods, ideas, and tragically, disease. For more sharp and deep histories that uncover the timeless principles of power and strategy, follow the Sovereign Archives.